Give it a few minutes, let everyone get in here, and then we will get started. Hey, what's going on at the end? Ed, Eric, good to see you guys here. Yes, long time, Eric. What's going on? Squid Nordy, Akshay. Good to see you guys. Yes. It's going to be a good stream, guys. Can go over a lot of good stuff. The volatility of the markets, some upcoming catalysts, what I think is happening so far. Absolutely. Unknown, Marco, Azukar, good to see you guys here. Always nice to see familiar faces back in the live stream, guys. So far, 26 current viewers, only 2 likes. If you guys could like the live stream, that'd be awesome. Helping to share Gym Hunters with the masses. Hootie says, hope everyone's having a blessed weekend. Likewise, Hootie. Klipka says, hi, CD, what's going on? Nerubia says, is this sustainable? Question mark, question mark, question mark. A lot of concern in Nerubia's message there. I don't know if it's sustainable, but we'll talk about it, and we'll walk you through it. What's going on, Shogun? Lindani, no, this is not Luke. This is not Luke. But don't worry, Lindani. You're only the 200th person to ask. It's okay. Nerubia says, Michael Saylor tweeted, buy now. Do we trust him? Oh, we'll talk about that too, guys. Michael Saylor is a perma bull, so he's always going to tell you to buy Bitcoin no matter what. So I would not look too much into that. Klipka, I will go over KTA later on. Jordan says, I love when you post in Gym Hunters. I ignore the rest. Hey, appreciate that, Jordan. I try to provide as much valuable content as I can. Good morning, Hype Trending. Mario, happy Saturday to all. And be blessed, my brothers. Happy Saturday to you as well, Mario. Squid Nordy, should I pay attention to crypto if I've still got under like $2,000 a month income online? So, Squid, you could still do good in crypto, but you should have at least $500 to $1,000 that you're trading with from the start. Any less than that, then yeah, it's not really worth it. Let's see, guys. Can you guys hear me okay on the mic, or is it too low? Nava was saying, can't hear you, bro. Can you increase the volume? Curious if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. See, Monty says, good day, guys. Hey, good day. Unknown. Tomorrow it all decides, I guess. USD at trendline resistance weekly. Last big run. Could be unknown. Could be. See what's going on. And Jordan, I just keep it moving, right? I just have a goal. I focus on it. There's a lot of noise that happens, right? But you can't always focus on the noise, guys. You just got to focus on your goals, focus on the mission, keep going. Let me tell you guys something. So there's a quote, right? It's a famous quote. And I want to tell you guys what it says. It's a famous quote, and I strongly believe. Let me actually tell you guys. So the quote is, strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. I'll leave it at that, guys. I will leave it at that. So we keep it moving in Gym Hunters. We provide you guys the best data possible. With that said, guys, let's go ahead and start the live stream. Like I said, glad to have everyone here. For the 24-hour liquidations, $294 million. Longs, 178 million. Shorts, 115 million. So more longs than shorts. But nothing crazy. Like I said, just another day, right? Another day of volatility in the market. Now, something that's interesting is the liquidation heat map here. So on the 1 week, we have some liquidity near 105.6K. Then we also have some liquidity near 98.1K. Now, Leo's saying volume up. Sound is loud and clear. Interesting, guys. If you guys can't hear me, make sure to turn up the sound on your speakers. I will turn up the volume a little bit for you guys. Stand by. Let's see. 1 second. I want to make sure. Okay. All right. What about now, guys? Is the volume a little bit better? Let me know, Nava. Let me know, Leo. How's the volume right now? I turned down the gain a little bit, so it should be, you should hear a little bit better. But nonetheless, guys, we have 24-hour liquidations just above 105K and just below, I would say around 98K. So those are two levels to watch out for. Now, looking at the past 24 hours is 105K. Okay, so 105K on the 24-hour, and that is a level to watch out for. And so I would say with that, just keep in mind that if we do have a nice pump here, then that 105K level could be a mean reversion level, meaning we could tag that and then curve back to the downside because there is a lot of resistance near 104 to 106K. And I'll tell you guys my opinion of where I think the market's going to go when the top is in, all that towards the end of this live stream. But there is some liquidity to the downside. The majority is to the upside. So just keep that in mind. Now, looking at some news articles. So there's a lot of news. Just like a few other people were saying earlier that Michael Saylor said to buy Bitcoin now. And guys, Michael Saylor's always bullish. So like I said, I wouldn't look too much into this. But yeah. And that's, let's see. And that's something to keep in mind, guys. That's something to keep in mind. Is just make sure that, you know, anytime you have these bullish posts, just know that at the end of the day, people who are always bullish is not really going to change. And so I got a text message real quick. Let me just answer that real quick. All right. So that's the big thing, guys, is, again, you just got to know that whenever people are bull posting consistently, what's their record? Are they accurate, or are they just bull post all the time? So again, Michael Saylor's great. He's always buying Bitcoin, but I would not take it as a necessarily buy now just because he said it. But we'll look at the data and I'll let you guys know. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down because I know there's a lot of news articles that we have not covered over the past week. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'll go over the important ones. One of them being UAE's second largest telecom provider, DU, launches Bitcoin cloud mining service. Great to see for crypto adoption there. We also had Treasury Secretary Bessent saying the Fed should continue to cut interest rates if inflation is dropping. And that's the big concern. And that was the big reason we had a crash, is because when Jerome Powell had the FOMC meeting, his outlook was that, well, we don't necessarily, think we need to cut rates in December because inflation isn't really dropping. And that was a big thing because people assumed he would continue to cut rates. And now if he's saying, well, he's not going to cut rates, well, at the end of the day, that's just going to be more volatility, more drama, right? But if you look at Polymarket, I believe the percentage that he's going to cut rates in December are now around 65 to 70%. So that's something to watch out for. Also, guys, yeah, let me know what the odds are on Polymarket right now if the Fed's going to cut rates in December. Someone go to Polymarket on Google and type in, will the Fed cut rates or cut rates December, and you'll see the current poll that's going on. I think it's around 60 to 70% right now. But if the Fed cuts rates, it's going to be very bullish for the market. Also, we had Christopher Waller calls for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates again in December. Again, a lot of people want the Fed to cut rates. We also have Trump saying he only cares about one thing. We will be number one in crypto. Very bullish on that. And then we also have a few other big things like the trade wars with China and the United States. They had an agreement, or they had a meeting. They came to a trade agreement, and now relations are relatively positive. Now, also, in addition to that, we obviously had a lot of volatility in the market, right? We had a lot of some crypto prices, showed a large crash, and then a few other things as well. But at the end of the day, guys, you have to keep in mind that there's always going to be volatility in the market, and you have to manage your risk accordingly. And so I'm sure a lot of you lost money October 10th, a few days after, even earlier this month. Like at the end of the day, though, you have to manage risk appropriately. Now, also, we have Senator Cynthia Lummis saying crypto market structure is the most important piece of digital asset legislation in United States history. Great to see on that front. And you also have Ripple actually partnering with MasterCard to introduce RLUSD credit card settlements on XRP Ledger. So great to see on that front. Again, Ripple is continuing to partner with these banks, partner with these institutions. So who knows? Could the price continue higher? We'll have to see. And he also had Trump says crypto takes a lot of pressure off the US dollar and that the United States, he's making the United States the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world, and the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence. Again, great to see that as Trump is consistently focused on crypto. And also you have the White House Greer saying the U.S. has many levers to use with China, but wants stability. So again, just that shows you that the U.S. doesn't want a war with China, doesn't want a trade war. They're going to work with them any way they can, which is very bullish for us. And then crypto czar David Sachs says that there's great progress on the crypto market structure legislation. So this is what you want to see for increased adoption. Also, you have JP Morgan saying Bitcoin could reach $170,000 over the next 6 to 12 months. Now, guys, let me ask you right now, where do you think Bitcoin is going to top out at? Do you think we've already topped, or do you have a higher target? Just in general. It doesn't have to be at the end of the year. It could be over the next 6 months, 12 months. Okay, where do you think Bitcoin is going to top out at, or have we already topped? Let me know in the comments, because I want to see where everyone is at right now. Because there is a legitimate chance that we've already topped, but there's also a legitimate chance that we could still break an all-time high. So curious what you guys think. Have we already topped, or tell me your target for Bitcoin over the next 6 to 12 months. Curious to see what everyone says. So Harsh says 25 basis point decrease, 71%, highest 90%, also 25 basis point decrease. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so we're seeing at least 71% chance of a 25 basis point cut in December. So Polymarket is usually very, very accurate, guys. And that's some alpha for you guys is go on Polymarket. There's always insiders. And so whatever, I should say, whatever results is winning, then most likely that's going to continue to be the one that wins, okay? Because there's insiders betting. And so we're probably going to see that number increase for the 71% chance. I'm assuming it'll increase even higher. So that's something to watch out for as well. So keep an eye on that. Now, let's go ahead and see what some of the comments are saying. So 140K, the top. Eduardo Nezi says we topped. Shogun, May 2026, 150 to 180K. Crypto Casting says December. Sebastian, 150K. Brontis, another pump. Jordan, the top is whatever the market makers want it to be. NJR, 150K next 6 months. Malak, top is December potentially. Update on KTA, please. Yep, I'll go over the chart. Okay, so most people think we're going to top around 140 to 150. And then a few think we already topped. So very interesting on that. Eric says, I'm thinking we have a short-term bear run, 1 to 6 months, then bull run continues in 2026. Ed says, sold all my bags beginning of Q4. Don't think the top is in necessarily, but the risk reward isn't there right now. Better to just trade and not buy spot bags, in my opinion. Yeah, could be smart there, Ed. Eric says, seems like a lot of catalysts keep getting delayed. Bitcoin is up for a week or two, down to 90K-ish, then 150 and beyond. A lot of good takes, guys. A lot of you guys are smart in the chat. And I think, there's not just a lot of quote-unquote moon boys in the chat, right? There's a lot of people that are actually being very calculated in their opinion. And so I do think it's possible we do still have one more downturn, sweep that potentially 92K, 90K level, and then just send it after that. So you have to be able to look at both sides, guys. Like, you cannot be a perma bull. You can never be a perma bear. And that's what I always tell people is you got to be willing to look at both sides and just trade whatever the market gives you. And so do I think we're going to have another all-time high? Probably. I think so. Probably, right? But at the end of the day, it's not what I think. It's what the market makers think, right? And so we're going to play this level by level. As we start breaking certain resistance levels, we'll talk about it and what levels I'm watching as well. But yeah, a lot of catalysts keep getting pushed back. And so again, you're going to see that in the market, see that frustration in the market, and also see that volatility echoed in the market. Now, some more news articles. Robinhood is considering buying Bitcoin for its balance sheet. Another little bullish catalyst there. Then you have Charles Schwab saying they're having a ton of success in the crypto space. There you go. Some more bullishness from Charles Schwab. And then Google, we were talking about Polymarket. Google partners with crypto prediction platform Polymarket to integrate directly into its search. Guys, this is big because prediction markets are becoming a big narrative. I think it's Kaush, probably butchering that name, but that one and Polymarket are two of the biggest ones. And I think, obviously eventually when they launch their token, it's going to be a bullish catalyst. But just seeing how integrated they're becoming now, I mean, it just shows you guys how the platform and how the environment is changing from how we used to be. So very, very cool to see that. And then also, guys, we have to talk about this a little bit. GTA 6 was delayed until November 19th, 2026. We have to talk about this because this thing has been getting delayed for the past 13 years. We thought it was going to be in May, and now it's just going to be pushed back another 6 months. And so the reason why I'm assuming, again, this is all speculation, is because they're integrating crypto into the game. Originally, I don't think they planned to do that. Honestly, I don't think they planned to do that. But so many people requested it and were like, crypto payments into the game is just going to make it real. You know what I mean? It's going to be like in-game currency and you can cash it out and you can do all this. Like, it's going to be literally the biggest game ever to launch. And so they want to make it good. They want to make sure everything is, as integrated as possible. And in my opinion, it's going to create another catalyst for a gaming narrative in crypto. Heck, it may even delay the bull run until November. As crazy as that sounds, and again, it sounds crazy to me to even say that, but there's so much hype around this game, and if it does integrate crypto like they say, or like they're rumored to be, guys, I mean, it's going to be a lot of people wanting to get into crypto after that, you know what I mean? So, Kalshi is the prediction platform. Thank you, Ed. And yes, I will check the charts, Eric, and a few others who also, who also want me to cover any charts. All right, let's see. Harsh says, IG GTA 6 developers saw Luke's podcast. There you go. Okay, and got some ideas, exactly. So I do think that they are integrating more stuff in the game. But anyway, another big thing, guys, is Tesla shareholders approve Elon Musk's $1 trillion pay package. Let me know in the comments, are any of you guys thinking of buying a Tesla? Because I have the 2026 Model Y Juniper, and guys, I am not lying when I say it's the best car I've ever driven. Best car I've ever driven. I bought the acceleration package, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. They're also coming out with the performance model later on this year. But the full self-driving, literally, it's in your parking lot. You press start drive, and it drives to your destination. Hands-free, and it parks for you. Literally, you don't touch the button at all. And so I highly recommend you guys get it. If you guys are going to get it, let me know, because I actually do have a referral link, shameless plug. It's going to get you 3 free months of full self-driving. And then I'm going to earn $250 from that. So it's a win-win for both of us. But if you guys are thinking of buying a Tesla, let me know. But anyway, the Tesla shareholders approved Elon Musk's $1 trillion pay package. Right now, I believe the Tesla stock is around 1.5 trillion market cap. And one of the contingencies on him receiving this payout is that he grows the company to 8.5 trillion, which would be a 6x from where it's at right now. I think that's fair, right? For him to only earn 12% of how much value that he grows with the company. Also, selling more robotics, selling, a certain amount of Optimus robots, cyber cabs, FSD packages, etc. So that's what I would say. Lucky Luke says, nah, BMW for the win. Oh, BMW. BMW's not a bad car. Not a bad car. But I would say having both. BMW and a Tesla. You'll try a Tesla, Luke. Just try a Tesla. Eduardo says, should I get the Juniper? Do you recommend? Yes, Eduardo. The Model Y Juniper, the 2026 model, 1,000% I recommend. I promise you it's the best car you're going to drive. Unless you're Luke, which would be a BMW. Harsh Guapa says, any coin we can buy spot during the fall, or this market's going to fall more? Ooh, that's a good question. We'll talk about that as well. And I'm gonna answer some other questions up top, guys. I'm just trying to look at a few other comments with that. But also, we have Kazakhstan to launch the $1 billion crypto reserve funding using seized assets by 2026. More countries adopting Bitcoin. And then you have White House advisor Hassett saying the economy will recover once the government reopens. This is what I was talking about earlier, guys, is there's still more catalysts on the horizon, okay? So you still have the government that's going to reopen, and that's going to be another bullish catalyst for us. Because so that you have interest rate cuts in December, you have quantitative tightening ending December 1st, you have US announcing their accumulation plan for the SBR, the ETH staking ETF. There's a few other things, but again, the catalysts aren't as prevalent as they once were 6 months ago. There's less of them. And so now it's just playing this level by level and being careful. All right, we have JP Morgan disclosing 343 million Bitcoin ETF holdings. Very good on there. And also, we have taxpayers that may see record tax refunds in 2026 due to President Trump's big, beautiful bill. This is also bullish, guys, because if you think about it, it's going to be somewhat of a stimulus check, but it's not all going to be at once. And so, very curious to see on that. Then Trump says we almost had no inflation and may drop to 1%. Inflation is the big reason why Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, doesn't want to cut rates. And that was the big reason for the drop, because he said inflation is still somewhat high, therefore we may not cut rates in December. And so now I do think that they still could cut rates, as we saw earlier with Polymarket having a 71% chance that they may cut rates. And so keep an eye on that, guys. Also, we have Fed Governor Stephen Murray saying crypto innovation is impacting the economy. There you go. Hopefully it's for the positive. And then Eric Trump, he was on the Nelk Boys podcast, saying Bitcoin's going to reach $1 million. And I do believe that's the case, but it's not going to happen this year. It's going to happen maybe 2030, maybe 2035. But nonetheless, Bitcoin is a good, solid investment, but you still need multiple cycles to get there. Now, also, we have Michael Saylor. I already told you about this, saying buy Bitcoin now. Again, he's always bullish. Love to see. Great ambassador of the space. But always manage your risk accordingly versus having someone who says buy something right now versus not. So with that said, let's answer a few questions and then we'll go over, actually, let me just go over a few charts and then we'll go over some questions. So the S&P, bearish divergence on the weekly RSI, played out perfectly, tapped our support at 66.40. Now we're just waiting for potential bounce. So keep an eye on that. At least the RSI is reset now below that overbought level. We have the gold closing at $4,000, could still provide some price appreciation to the upside. Again, gold is a hedge against inflation, a hedge against uncertainty. So people are buying it because there's still some uncertainty in the market. So it is possible gold continues higher from here. Going to keep an eye on that. RSI is reset below the overbought level, still provides room for higher. Oil futures around 60, nothing crazy there. And then we have USD, the DXY, the strength of the dollar here, rejected off that $100 20-cent level. So the DXY is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. When it drops, Bitcoin pumps and vice versa. But it's at support right now at 99.50. So let's see what happens, guys. If the DXY breaks through this, Bitcoin's going to pump very, very nicely. If not, then we could start to see some potential, a bounce here and some downwards price action in Bitcoin. RSI isn't really crazy. It's 53, not really overbought, oversold. So something to keep in mind there. But looking at the overall market, so let's refresh it to see where we're at currently. So Bitcoin, 101.6, it's declining. Ethereum, 33.67, it's declining. Solana, down 3.6%, 156.91. Guys, this is why it pays to be patient, okay? Please stay patient, guys. Please stay patient. You never want to rush into trades. ICP, 16%, crazy performance from ICP. And then you have a few other tokens, but none of them are really standing out. So good to see, guys, when you have these tokens outperforming like they are, especially with the current environment. So it shows you there's still opportunity no matter what. But you can see how much Zcash has now declined, 19.7% down to 582, or still doing good, up 29%, 537. But like I said, you're always going to have volatility, but you are going to have outperformers. But this is why, looking at Zcash, you never want to FOMO in at the top. Now, yes, Zcash kept going higher, but people were FOMOing in at $600, at $700. Now look what happened, guys. It's retracing, right? And so the next area of interest for Zcash, which I'll go over, is probably going to be around 460 to 480. So keep that in mind. And then finally here, the fear and greed index is at 25. So I always tell you guys, watch for it to reach extreme fear. This is on CoinMarketCap, by the way. Watch for it to reach extreme fear, because when it does, that's when the buying opportunity is the best. Because you can see it reached extreme fear back in, call it March 9th of this year. It stayed in extreme fear for a few more days, and then afterwards, price started rising. Yes, it went back to extreme fear a few more days, and then that marked the bottom, okay? So whenever we're in extreme fear, that's a great buying opportunity. That's when you start DCAing down. Now, yes, fear at 25 is a good level. It's very, very low. You can see when we're down here, we usually bounce eventually. this is the area when you start DCAing as well. But when it gets to extreme fear, you really, really want to start piling in with the bids. All right, let's go ahead and answer some questions. Let's see. All right, let's go towards the top, guys. We're going to go towards the top here. See what questions we got. Ooh, okay. A lot of questions. I'm just going to go over a lot of these very, very quickly. But nonetheless, let me... Okay. Luke says that was Aristotle. Yes, for the quote I was talking about with the strong minds, weak minds, and the average minds. Or Socrates or Plato. That's funny. But nonetheless, guys, you always want to discuss ideas with other people, other smart people, right? That's how you improve. Average minds discuss events. Weak minds discuss people. People who are gossiping, those are the weakest minds there is. Mada says, what is your opinion on MMT right now? MMT is an interesting token, honestly. And I'll go over some more tokens here in a minute. Like I'll go over Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum. But just looking at MMT, I mean, that chart is pretty comical to say the least. But yeah, if I had to look at a few levels here for MMT, and again, guys, I'll go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana shortly after this, and I'll answer some more questions. But MMT doesn't have a lot of historical data, but it is respecting its SR lines, which is good to see. So you can see where there was resistance, it turned into support, right? Resistance. So it is respecting these lines. So very impressive. Whoever's market making MMT, good job on that. But the hourly, you see it's curving to the downside. MMT at the very least, I would place bids near 56 cents. And then below that, 48 cents. But I wouldn't front run it because I do know that they are still planning to pump it higher. Not sure if that was what this was, but there are still a lot of KOLs, a lot of influencers who haven't received their supply. And so they're going to add selling pressure on the market. Okay, so just be careful with that. But yeah, resistance on MMT, 67 cents and then 77 cents. But yeah, indicators on the hourly are basically normal. They're reset near that 50 level. All right, let's see what other people we got here. Thoughts on KTA? Let's check KTA, and then after this, I'm going to go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So, KTA, I know Luke tweeted about KTA recently. And KTA has good tech, right? KTA has good tech. But what is price saying? That's the big question, guys. And I'm assuming I drew this trend line last time, but let's go ahead and I'll tell you guys what. Let's just scrap everything. Let's start from 0. Let's see where the main levels are at on KTA. Okay. So, here's the main levels on KTA. If you're thinking of buying it, I would be patient. I'd be patient. I would look to buy it near 27 cents. If you want to front run it, 27 to 30 cents. Okay. 27 to 30 cents. Let me decrease the transparency there. Or say increase the transparency. And there you go. Okay. So 26 to 30 cents. This would be the area I would look to buy KTA. I would not rush to buy it. I would not FOMO in to buy it. There's still resistance near 44 cents. Then we have resistance at the 50 EMA, but also coinciding here with 57 cents. So yeah, guys, if you can get it near 30 cents, probably a good level, but you can see the indicators right now curving to the downside. So just keep an eye on that. Also, if you guys haven't liked the stream, please like it. We got 88 viewers and only 31 likes. Then also, I was going to say, if you guys haven't followed me on X at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I post a lot of good content, guys. So if you guys haven't followed me, definitely good there. And then also, there's some other accounts to follow. I'll talk about in a minute. Virtual Bacon, Benjamin Cohen, a few others. So stay tuned for those as well. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for KTA. Now, Real quick, let's go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Then I'll answer a few more questions, and then we'll go from there. So Bitcoin, a lot of resistance near 104 to 106K. Okay? A lot of resistance near this level. So just be patient, guys. I have some limit. Actually, I'm already in a limit long from 99K, but I would look to enter another one if you guys aren't in it between 95 to 99K. Okay? And let's zoom out. Why am I saying those levels? Let's zoom out here. And really, it's going to help if I go on the weekly, actually. I'm just going to go on the weekly, and I'm going to, okay, show you guys something. So let me make these circles a little bit better. So you can see these arrows, and I have them because the 50 EMA is great support for Bitcoin. The weekly 50 EMA is great support. Every time Bitcoin's come down to that, it's bounced nicely. Okay, so that's why you always watch the 50 EMA, because it's going to tell you where Bitcoin wants to go. And so with that said, here's the next one, right? The 50 EMA. So far, we've bounced from the 50 EMA. And remember, the weekly close is coming up. The weekly close is going to be Sunday at midnight UTC. So what is going to happen with Bitcoin? Well, as long as Bitcoin can close above the weekly, and that's going to be at 100.9K. As long as Bitcoin closes the weekly above that, we're good. If Bitcoin closes the weekly below this 50 EMA, things could get interesting. And I'll talk about that. I'm having a stream tomorrow, guys. Same time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I'm going to talk about how to identify a bear market. So I don't want to say too much right now, but one of the signs is Bitcoin staying below this 50 weekly EMA for at least a few weeks. That is one of the signs. And so that's why it's such an important level. Now, longing between 95 to 96K is because if you look at the past, there's been a lot of support near 93.6K, right? 93.6 to 96. But 99K is a big level because it's just below this 50 EMA. And usually whenever we come close to this 50 EMA, you can even see back in the past here, this 50 EMA was at 77.6K April 7th, and we went all the way down to a low of 74.4K. So what is 77.6 from 74.6? That's $3,000. $3,000, quick math, is going to be a little less than 5%. So let's say a 4% move down, okay? Well, a 4% move down from 100.9K is what? Well, roughly, let's just say $4,000. Keep easy math. So $4,000 below 100.9K is going to be 96.9K. You see what I mean? You see where those levels are coming in, 95 to 99. So again, it's all statistics, guys, in a game of probability. So giving you some alpha here on the stream. But that's why my limit orders, I still have limit orders near 98, 97, and 96, and 95K. So I'm in from 99, but I have limit orders DCA down. Now, something I will also mention, and we already mentioned resistance is 104 to 106. So look to take some profits there. Something else I will mention is the CME gap. The CME gap is right here. And if you look at the hourly chart, I'll show you guys. If you look at the hourly chart, I'll zoom out because that's where you see the CME gaps. Okay. So CME gaps usually get filled 95% of the time. But you can see here, we had a CME gap. Okay. So up here, April 22nd, we formed a gap and we never filled that gap. Okay. We never filled it. And so I can actually draw this even higher here. Well, I think, okay, here we go. Right there. Okay. That is the gap that we still need to fill. So if you go on the daily chart, you can see that gap is still there. And so we need to fill this gap. And could we fill it now? Possible, right? We could have another run and then fill it. But guys, look at this 200 EMA. This is interesting, actually. I just noticed this. Is on this chart, on the CME chart, we're rejecting off the 200 EMA, whereas before we bounced off of it. Is that a sign right now that we're going to continue to reject, right? Very, very interesting there. Could we have shifted trends? Are we entering a bear market now? Let me ask you guys, do you think we've entered a bear market? Yes or no? I want to see how many viewers think we have entered a bear market and how many think we haven't. Honestly, I'm 50-50 on it. That's why I'm asking you guys. I'm curious to see. Let's get a poll going, guys. Do you think we've entered a bear market? Yes or no? And let's see what everyone says. We'll give it a couple minutes to let everyone answer, and then we'll see what the consensus is afterwards. Again, don't let anyone influence you. Go based off your own opinion. No one is wrong here, guys. It's literally a 50-50 shot. So yes or no. Both answers are right. All right, so let's see. But yeah, that's the gap as well, around 92K. So if we get that low, that's going to be an area to bid. Now let's look at Ethereum. And then we'll look at Solana and then answer a few questions. So Ethereum here, you can see that there's a lot of resistance near 35 to 3,600, which also coincides with the 200 EMA. Major support's going to be around 3270, followed by that 3050 level. So something to watch out for there, guys. 3270, a good DCA point, and then 3050 afterwards. And then for taking profit, 35 to 3,600 would be a great area to take profit. But yeah, I am not liking how Ethereum has crossed under its 200 EMA on the daily. And I say that because, I mean, you look at the past, the last time we were under the 200 EMA on the daily, I mean, one, the beginning of the year, we actually absolutely tanked. But also, if you look at June, we crossed below it, hovered below it, and then crossed above it. So could this be, right? Could this be the same as this? Could we be declining? And then we bounce up, and then we send much higher. You know, could that fractal be coming out into play? And that could be something, would it be ghost feed? This may be it. Let me actually see. No, it's not ghost feed. 1 second, guys. Let me, is it forecast? It's been a while since I used this one, so just give me a second. Okay, I think it's just bars pattern. Yeah. Okay. So, could this be happening here? You see what I'm saying? Could we have the drop and then Ethereum just absolutely sins? I mean, it's possible, right? It's possible. We had the big drop. Now are we sending higher after that? Let's see, guys. Let's see. I'll leave this up here just for grins, but let's see what happens. All right, looking at the indicators for Solana or for Ethereum as well. RSI curving back to the downside a little bit. Stock RSI was oversold, now curving back to the upside. So not too bad from a indicator perspective. We're near those oversold levels, but we could have a short-term pullback and then higher. So that's what I'm waiting for on Ethereum. Obviously, it's the weekend, so it's going to be some volatility there. Now for Solana, 157.13. Now Solana, there's good support here, guys. There's good support here because one, you have where it bounced before at 154.50, but then also there's horizontal support near 157. And then you also have the trend line support near 153. So if you're thinking about buying Solana, this could be a good spot to buy it, right? Near, if it gets to 153, yes, I know the RSI is curving to the downside. Stock RSI is leveling out. But if we get to 153, I think it'd be a good buy area. So it'd be forming a bullish divergence most likely. So something to keep an eye on there. Now resistance for Solana, 166 and then 174 is the big resistance level. So keep an eye on those two. Resistance, I do believe strong resistance is near 174. And then a little bit, like I said, near that 167 level you can see here. And I'll go ahead and make this an orange line because that's a little significant area there. But yeah, those are the levels to watch. And so let's go ahead and look at some more charts. Again, 75 viewers, 38 likes. If you guys could like the stream, that'd be awesome. Much, much appreciated, guys. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay, Lucky Luke says, do you use any AI for trading analysis? If so, how do you use it? So I don't. I mean, I think the closest thing to AI I would use is indicators, coding indicators. But as far as if you're talking about trading bots, do I use a trading bot? No, I don't. But I do use indicators that incorporate a lot of different equations. And a way that you could use trading, like an AI though, to help you trade is you could prompt Grok or ChatGPT, give it certain data points and then see what it spits out. And then it'll give you like a report. I know a friend of mine actually has built up a report and he uses ChatGPT or uses Grok actually, and it actually is pretty accurate. And so, yeah, I think AI in crypto is very, very good if you can get it right. Sparaco says, I don't think we have topped, but the enemy year in Chinese astrology numerology starts at 17 Feb. So max at 17 Feb in out. Interesting. All right, good to know, Sparacos. Appreciate you sharing that. Pranav says top is in. Harsh says Aster KTA buy or just hold earlier buys. Ooh, so Aster is another one, guys. I swear, Aster, that chart. I mean, $1.02. Guys, just look at this chart. I mean, come on. Like Aster, I haven't traded Aster since it broke. I mean, basically since it just crashed down here. I haven't been buying it. I've just been waiting because this is literally the personification of the price action on Aster. I mean, literally, it's just you're getting chopped to pieces, right? CZ tweets about it down here. It pumps, then it comes back down. So this is the trend line I would watch. 2 levels I would watch for Aster, and then I may get bullish. May is take it out with a grain of salt. But this trend line, right? This trend line here, and then you also have this major resistance here. So these two things, guys, these two things is this trend line resistance and then this major resistance right here. So if we can break both of these, if Aster does something like, go here, boom, boom, and then there, okay, maybe. I may get bullish at that point. But until then, this is technically a descending triangle, and you could see it very easily do that. Very possible it could do that and just go to, down to the gulag. So CZ, he says he's defending the 91 cent level. This is where he wanted to buy more. People were chastising him about it. When it got here again, he bought more. We saw price rise, but then, like I said, rejecting off of this trend line resistance. And so all that to say, guys, Aster needs to show me something before I even think about getting in. KTA, I'd wait for 30 to 27 cents. Harsh says, do you think Bitcoin could see 95K before 2026? Yes, absolutely. 100% I believe it could see that. Because remember, we have the CME gap at 92K, so something to watch out for. Victor says, so we rebuy crypto in your opinion? Victor, so I wouldn't place it black and white like that. If there's good value, then yes. But in the meantime, you just got to be patient, right? You just got to be patient. And so, yes, you could buy, but you got to take your profits, get in and out. Because I'm not sure if we're going to have an extended cycle per se, but we still should have some tokens pumping. But at the same time, you just want to get your profits and get out. And Jordan, I'm curious what contest you are referring to with the 100 crypto traders. Eric, can you check LTC on the hourly potential bull flag pattern? Yeah, let's go ahead and check LTC. Ooh, LTC is rejecting here off of the 200 EMA. So that's interesting. But yeah, it's rejecting off the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA. So guys, LTC, I just be careful. It's the SR lines aren't as respected, but I would say buying near 94 isn't bad, but 82 is the real money maker there. And then below that, $90. $90 is a good area for LTC. So yeah, I would keep an eye on those guys. $90, a great buy area is that. So keep an eye on that. But watching that closely, so 90 to 94 for LTC. Now you're asking about a bull flag is, let me see. Actually, let me text someone real quick. Okay. So Yeah, could this be a bull flag here on the hourly? Ooh, this looks nice. Yeah, I think it's possible. So here, let's do the parallel channel. Parallel channel here. Boom. Boom. Okay. So, yeah, potentially, I mean, it's not horrible. Let's see. So you can see here the spur higher and then the downward price action, and then it broke above it, retested as support near 99. It's not bad, guys. It's not bad. But again, if it falls through, if the hourly falls through, let's say 99, it falls below 99, then I'd be a little concerned, okay? So just something to watch out for there. But with that said, I'll be a buyer near 94 and 89. All right, let's see what other questions we got. Do you use ABC correction? What do you think of a 1 to 1 2 1 2 trend based on fib ABC correction? So I don't use ABC corrections, but I will say Wyckoff is really good and using Fibonacci is really good. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know Wyckoff on crypto is a great guy to follow as well. And yeah, I said I would show you guys what people to follow. So a few others. Into Cryptoverse, great guy. Everyone should be following him. And then also you have Virtual Bacon. He's a very good macro analyst. So definitely give him a follow. And then also you have a few other people. One of them is, just forgot. Oh yeah, Wyckoff on crypto. So he's very good with Wyckoff analysis and Elliott Wave. So if you haven't seen his content, definitely check him out. So yeah, a lot of good guys. And obviously if you haven't followed me either at the CryptoData, definitely follow me, and that'd be a good, and I'm gonna share some good data and also some motivational quotes with you guys. So previous one is, comfort is the enemy of progress. So guys, never get comfortable. Never get comfortable. Complacency kills, as they say. Always be striving for more. Always. But let's go ahead and see some more questions. Lucky Luke's, let's see. Harsh says, okay, is it better to track spot whales or hyperliquid whales? I mean, both. I would say both is good. Hyperliquid whales tend to over leverage themselves. I mean, yes, we had the insider whale, quote unquote, Barron's wallet, and that was fairly accurate, but I would just be careful. But as long as you have some confluence, then it's good. So Eric is saying, Rockstar said their speculation is saying they could possibly delay till 2027. Workers leaked that and they were fired afterwards. Guys, who knows what's going to happen with GTA 6? It's so funny. Baranta says, opinion on memes. Honestly, not as bullish on memes, guys. Utility plays seems like that's what everyone wants. And so that's what I'm focused on currently, is those utility plays, right? Hey, what's going on, Rialdo? He says, CD, how are you? Late to the live stream, what I miss? Basically, just talk about the macro events, the upcoming events. So rate cuts in December. We have the quantitative tightening ending in December. The government shutdown is supposedly going to reopen, or it's going to end by November 17th. And so that's something else to watch out for. So we still have some catalysts upcoming. And then basically more chop you can expect, but I do think those catalysts will get front run. Let's see. Harsh says, any coin we can buy spot during the fall, or is market going to fall more? I think Hype isn't a bad token because they always purchase more of their token during liquidations. So Hype isn't bad. Malik says, appreciate these lives, bro. Hey, appreciate you, Malik. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. We got 61 viewers and 46 likes. If you guys could like the stream, that'd be amazing. What's going on, Tobias? Super Gringo says, do you think Zcash will continue to pump next week? It's possible. I mean, we can go over the chart real quick. Let's check out Zcash. Also, I'm eating a little protein caffeine bar, if you guys hear anything in the background. All right, so here's an interesting metric. Is the hourly 50 EMA. Look at what price has done on Zcash. You see that? So the 50 EMA on the hourly has been an area of importance. It acted as resistance. Then when it crossed back above it, acted as support. So 575 could be the bottom for Zcash. I mean, if you don't take some risk, I mean, that would be basically your invalidation would be an hourly close below the 50 EMA. But it is starting to get overbought on the stock RSI. Now, with that said, interesting. Did price really drop to 490? Wow. Zcash price almost dropped to 490, which is also the 200 EMA. Very interesting, guys. Yeah, Zcash seems to support its EMAs very, very good. Interesting that we had that big flush. And I was literally telling people earlier, I said, look at the 50 EMA for Zcash, and it was 488, and we literally bounced $2 above it. Wow. There you go. Perfect example, guys. Perfect example. When you're prepared, I mean, price bounced perfectly from there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, Zcash literally that was a perfect bottom buy. That's crazy. If it were me, I'd wait for at least a retest if it can come down to 510. Obviously, this 485, 490 is going to be a great buy level. All right, let's see what else we got. But yeah, I do think Zcash will probably continue to pump. Jordan says, 85% of my net worth is in Arbitrum. Curious why it's in Arbitrum. It's a very unique token to have your net worth in. A lot of questions. Let me see. What do you think about the death cross about to happen on Bitcoin? Dreamer asks. Let's see that. Let's see that death cross. A lot of good questions, guys. Is this the death cross you're talking about? The 50 EMA on the daily and the 200 EMA? Very interesting. Here's the thing with the death cross. Usually, price will pump into the death cross and then reject. So that would mean that price probably goes up to 108 and then rejects downward. I mean, just like here, or actually, here's an example here. We're going to have a death cross back in April this year. Price pumped into it. And then we actually didn't. The 50 EMA actually went a lot higher. And so that's something that could possibly happen here, right? Remember what we talked about earlier as well, talking about fractals? So let's do another one. We're near this death cross. What do you guys think about that fractal? You like that? Right? We had a little drop. Had a little drop, a little pump. Drop, pump, near this death cross, near this death cross. Could this be history repeating itself? It doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. Now, where were indicators at the time? RSI was down here, just like RSI is down here, same level. Stock RSI Near oversold. Stock RSI near oversold. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but hey, these look pretty similar. What do you guys think? Yes or no? Tell me yes or no. What do you think for this little fractal that we've drawn? Again, it's very light, right? I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just looking at the death cross almost happening here, death cross almost happening here, fractal decline here, fractal decline here. Like, it's something there. Tell me if I'm crazy, guys. Am I crazy? Am I just hopium? Do I have a lot of hopium right now? All right. So I need to eat something. I haven't eaten anything today. All right, so that's something. But yeah, that's my thought stream around the death cross. I'll leave this up here too. Victor says, I hold XRP and BTC. What do you think about long-term holding? I think long-term holding is fine. Long-term, if you mean long-term, like a couple of years, yeah, I think you're fine. Harsh Gupta, what's your view on gold? I'm bullish on gold. Long-term, I'm bullish on gold. What do I think about Aster and Pangu? Aster, man, I talked about my things on Aster, my opinion on Aster earlier. Pangu, man, Luca Net says Pangu would have done good. Or he said it was going to do good in Q4, but that thing's just been bleeding like crazy. Let me show you guys the beginning of the end for Pangu. It was in this bull flag. It broke down, rejected that trendline support as resistance. Boom. All the way down to basically 1.5 cents. Guys, Pangu looks so bad right now. Like, this is the last hurrah for Pangu. 1.4 cents. If 1.4 cents falls, then it's gulag time for Pangu. Pangu's visiting the gulag. So hopefully this doesn't happen. But, I mean, the next major support I would look for would be probably around this level. Like, somewhere around here. 007, 008. So hopefully it doesn't happen. But, you know, like I said, there's a huge uptick here. So there's not much support until these major levels. So just try to be realistic, guys. Now, technically, is this a good spot to buy? Yes. But at the same time, it rejected off its signal line. Not really showing any bullish indications. So that's why I'm just being patient. Ghost Rider, long time. Yo, yo. You full cent yet? Nelk boys, get it? Ghost Rider has those jokes. Good to see you around, Ghost Rider. Hope you've been good. Rudolph, yesterday was just a taste of what is to come. There you go, Rudolph. Narubia says, dump the entire move up in 10 minutes. How about that? Rudolph says, patience and real balls will pay off. Yes. Anubhav, is it Luke speaking? This is not Luke. No. My name is John Luke. Sounds similar, but different people. Rudolph says, do not hold leverage and hold spot. You'll win. Exactly. Harsh, my name is John Luke. Thank you, Malik, for linking up. Sala, caught the ZEC short at 718. Momentum waves said it was time for a pullback. It's a hedge when BTC ETH pullback, and they were recovering a bit off the bottom in POC at 325, and it hit a psychological level, 750. Sala, can you let me know what momentum waves you're looking at? Were you looking at Market Cypher's momentum waves? Let me know on that. Awesome short, by the way. Congratulations. Samuel, ZBT, what do you think? ZBT. Let's see. ZBT. So ZBT on the daily, I mean, not much to go off of here. It's, I mean, if it crosses above its 50 EMA on the 4-hour, you could look to get in, momentum play there. So yeah, I'd watch for it. I'd watch for it to cross and close above 18 cents on the 4-hour. You may see some, again, there's resistance here at 18.5, but yeah, I look for it crossing and closing above 18. Marco says, in BTC, where would you long if we break the resistance area without touching the 95K? I would long between 95 to 99. So I'd long at 99K is the first area, and then see after that. Okay, asking if we're in a bear market. We see no, no, yes, yes, no, Either a short bear market or no, no, yes, no, 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 no. Also 50-50 if it breaks under 92, then yes, no, no. I think 2 weekly closes below the 50 weekly EMA confirming the bear market 50-50. So it looks like a little bit more no's than yeses if people think we're in the bear market. So I would call it like 60% no's, 40% yeses. Interesting, guys. I'll keep that in mind. If the masses are always wrong, then it means we are in a bear market. So let's see. Philip says, I think 2 weekly closes below the 50 EMA is confirming the bear market. It's possible. Sala says, I think we've simulated being in a bull and bear market since Trump got in. It's been crazy, hasn't it? It's been a lot of volatility. Simultaneously being in a bear and bull. Exactly. NJR, if we close below the current daily, then my bias is bearish. If we close above, then we're good to go. Good thesis there. I'm 50-50 because of macro. I think December will be pushing in the news of shutdown and QT stop, and rate cut should push us higher. Crypto casting, I think similar. Akshay, not until we close below the 50 weekly EMA for consecutive weeks. Yep, think the same. Luca, I think the market will pull back in one wave of newbies for liquidity that will turn into a bear. Interesting. Tobias, it will decline more for sure in my opinion, but bear market, question mark. Short one in that case, in my opinion. Okay, we could have a bear market for 6 months and then just go full bull May of next year, right? Like there's so many theories right now with the introduction of ETFs, DATs, Trump, everyone. And so this cycle is definitely unlike the rest, guys. I'll tell you that. Pranav says this cycle is more laggard consolidation and less aggressive pump than ever. BTC consolidated, alts crash. Exactly. Tobias says a little push up and then declining again. What would you do if you only had 6 to 10K? I feel like I'm missing on something because lots of people buying altcoins. So hard facts, what I would do if I had 6 to 10K, I would put a little bit of it in leverage. I'll tell you what I would do. So I would do 30% in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, 30% in high conviction altcoins, 20% in leverage, 10% in meme coins, and 10% in stables. So I'll write that down. I'll write that down for you. 30% BTC, ETH, Sol, 30% high conviction alts, 20% leverage, 10% memes, 10% stables. That's what I would do if you had 6 to 10K. Is EMA better than SMA? I don't think one's better than the other, but EMA does take into account the more recent data, exponential moving average. So I do use it more. Chud Jack, hello, I'm late for class. Welcome to class. I will issue your tardy and you will be sent to detention for the next 5 minutes. MNT, let's go ahead and check out MNT. Ooh, same thing. Same thing as the other token. So yes, it's at the 4-hour 50 EMA. We need to wait for it to cross above it. That's what I would say for MNT. So look for a 4-hour close. I mean, really above 136, and then we may start going higher from here. But there was some resistance near 140 and then 153. So yeah, I would just look at that. A 4-hour close above 135, 136, maybe a little bullish. Ayub says, do you think ETH BTC will continue to run? Thanks for reminding me about that, actually. Same thing here, guys. Below the 4-hour 50 EMA. I mean, you can see how funny it is when these tokens literally, or even these pairings, are literally respecting these levels. So will I think ETH BTC will continue to run? I mean, here's the big thing. Resistance was near 034. This weekly, you also have this weekly trend line, right? I believe, let me see something real quick. Yeah, we did break above this trend line, but we closed back above it. Trying to see if there's any other way we can draw this trend line. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see on that one. But nonetheless, I'm seeing what EMAs are best to look at here. Okay, so let me go ahead and delete some of these. Let me actually just hide. Okay, so here you can see ETH BTC was bouncing a little bit off of its 200 EMA. Again, not picture perfect there. Rejecting off its 50 EMA. If we go to the 4-hour, you can see a little bit clearer. This 50 EMA on the 4-hour is being respected more. So yeah, look for Ethereum BTC to close above 034, and then we could start seeing some price action to the upside even further. But looking at the RSI, resetting a little bit. So right now, guys, there's a lot of chop, honestly. Like a lot of indicators are chopped up, either reset near 50, a little overbought, a little oversold. So yeah, that would be the big things. So yeah. Other than that, guys, let's go ahead and answer a few more questions. Just real quick fire shots here. What happened to Quantum? I bought a few stocks around a month back and I'm down 20%. It's just the hype, right? So you have hype, attention around the narratives, and then it dies down, then it's going to pop up again. So same thing. Whenever we have some more updates, advancements in Quantum, they'll pump again. But look for catalysts. Look for the reasons why it dropped, right? Look for the company financials, look for what people are saying about them, maybe some bank lowered price target for it. There's always something of why tokens drop or why stocks drop. So just go ahead and look at that. Tech says, always good to hear from you guys. Hey, likewise. I say I went over Aster earlier, waiting for it to cross above 125 on the daily at a minimum. Where do you track hyperliquid whales? So it is at, I forgot, can someone link the website for the hyperliquid whales? It's... Oh, I forgot the exact name of it. When someone links it, I'll recognize it. Do you share your TradingView charting? Yeah, so I mean, in these streams, I share my charting. Remark this. There will be no bear market before greed and euphoria kicks in. Buy the dips. There you go. Buy the dips. Sala says, just broke a 3-day fast myself. Hey, congratulations. There's nothing like that. Also, I find, and I see others, the longer you fast, the closer you become to God and the more spiritual you become as well. So that's also something that's very beneficial of fasting. Jesus always said that, you know, you need to fast to get closer to the Lord. So there's always good benefits to fasting, guys. Also, it's just good for you health-wise. Tech says, I'm 60% on a pump from here. There you go. Malik says, can we get a whale wallet link, please? Yeah, I need to look at the actual, let me see if I can go to another window real quick, and then I will show you guys. Oh, by the way, Socrates was the person who made that quote. I'll actually link it here. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. Okay, let's see if I can find the hyperliquid. Hyper dash, that's what it is. Okay, here we go. Here we go, guys. This is where you track the hyperliquid whales. There you go. That's where you track it. How low do you think Bitcoin could get in the bear market now that a bunch of institutions and governments are heavily involved? I would look for 70 to 75K. Yeah, just be careful copying these whales, though. Just be very careful, guys. Yeah, if Bitcoin doesn't make a new all-time high, then every other coin is done. Philip said, absolutely. What's your view on the NASDAQ? NJR said, I mean, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's go ahead and check it out, guys. NASDAQ, if we draw some lines here. Actually, let me see if the daily is easier. Ah, I'm hiding the chart. That's why. Okay, we got one right there. I mean, this is just very rough, guys. Very, very rough. But the 200 EMA, or the 50 EMA on the daily is being respected very, very much. I mean, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. You got that one. There. There. Right? You can't ignore the data, guys. When you have it bouncing off of it, and now here. Okay? So if we're continuing this uptrend on the NASDAQ, then yeah. As long as we can get above 20, call it 25,200, boom, we're continuing higher. Then it'll be a little, you know, at that point, as the 50 EMA continues on. Something like that, right? That's what I'd be looking at for the NASDAQ. Sala says, yes, Market Cipher B. Okay, appreciate it, Sala. Yeah, Market Cipher is a great indicator. Very good with momentum. Pixel, should I hold the majority of my BTC for long term in a tax advantage account in the form of an ETF or hold it in a cold wallet, in which case I would technically have to pay capital gains? So, Pixel, I would do it with the tax advantage account so you don't have to pay capital gains. And that would be the most advantageous way. Or, I mean, if you're holding it long term, technically your capital gains would only be, what, 15% versus the 2025, I believe, if you hold it longer than a year. So whatever is better for you. Again, that's where you have to decide when can you withdraw your money. Do you incur a fee for withdrawing too early in a tax advantage account? All that stuff. My 50 EMA setting is literally the standard. So it's just, whoops. That's actually a pretty good line I drew. It looks like just like the 50 EMA. That's funny. Anyway, it's inputs 50. You close, etc. So if you go to indicators on TradingView, you just type in EMA, moving average exponential, click this, a little line will come up, double click that line, and you can input 50 here. And then this purple line is 200. Default settings. Can you check the ICP chart? Eric asks. Yes, Eric. Let's go ahead and check ICP. ICP, guys, man, this chart's insane. Oh my goodness. This chart is wild, guys. Gosh. And here's the thing, guys. Let's just, off the bat, stuff I'm seeing. Off the bat. It rejected, and this is its 200 EMA. Okay, right? Rejected down here. Rejected. And then it went under its 50 EMA. Rejected. And then once it crossed above its 50 EMA, look what happens, guys. And this is what I'm talking about. When you have a shift in the trend. So you had this downtrend, right? You had this large downtrend. It was rejecting off of its 200 EMA. Boom. It kept rejecting. And then finally, here was the shift right here. And you could draw trend lines, right? You could do something like here. I mean, this is picture perfect, actually. You could do something like here, right? Let me delete these circles so you guys can see it clearly. But you could do something like this, where you had this trend line, resistance, and then it acted as support once it crossed above it. So you had confluence here. You had it breaking, one, this 50 EMA, but also this trend line resistance, I should say, turned support. And it bounced off of that. So this is where this trend shift happened, guys. And this is what you got to be mindful of, is whenever you have these trend shifts happening, after it crossed below the 200 EMA, crossed below the 50 EMA, and then finally it starts breaking to the upside, and then it's just breaking these resistance points that stood as resistance for so long, boom, then you have the explosive move to the upside. I mean, this is absolutely wild, over 100% over the past 4 days. So now the question becomes, well, CryptoData, where do I long this? Well, look at this, guys. This is why I stress you guys got to learn technical analysis. Because look at this. Support. Rejected as resistance. Where did it reject this time? Oh, it rejected at resistance at the right moment there, at the perfect point. Some people call it hocus pocus. I call it self-fulfilling prophecies and supply and demand. Okay? You had support here. It made resistance here. A short at 975 would be very lucrative. I mean, that's almost an 8% move within the span of a few hours. So with that said, CryptoData, where do we buy ICP? Should I buy it now? Is the run done? Should I wait? Where should I buy? What level should I buy? Well, if it were me, I mean, this RSI is in Valhalla right now. It's on Mount Everest right now. So I don't know. Again, we need it to pull back a little bit, right? We need a little pullback here. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's at 85. Yes, RSIs can stay overbought in a bull market. I get it. But we still need to pull back. I'm not buying it when the stock RSI looks like it wants to cross to the downside. It's way overbought. And the RSI's on Mount Everest. I gotta wait for a pullback here. So even 845 is too soon for me. I would, at a minimum, 740. I'm not buying it above 740 because, I mean, just look at this. This run is insane. So guys, you just got to play risk reward wise, right? Once it gets to 730, it's probably going to be around here at 67. RSI is going to be around 67, and then maybe, right? But yeah, I'm not buying it when the indicators are like this. The time to buy was when both indicators were nearly oversold, which look when that was, right here. October 11th, after the crash. Okay? So when you have confluence like this is when you buy, guys. This is when you buy. You don't buy when it's in Valhalla territory. So That is my thoughts on ICP, but crazy chart though. Congrats to anyone that got in this. Like, kudos. You guys deserve it. Resistance after 970. It's going to be here, 1140. All right, let's see what else we got. Victor says, I think you should always have long-term crypto holds with all the theories going on. Yeah, no, for sure. That's why I say Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, at least long-term holds. And then hype. I'd probably include hype in that bag as well. That'd probably be my high conviction alt, 30% of my high conviction alt bag. Opinion on MMT. I went over MMT earlier. I'll pull up the chart again. Whoops. Stand by. This is what I think of MMT. Okay. Right here. So I would wait at least to buy at 57 cents because I know they want to market it. I don't know if they've already marketed it, what these runs were about, but at the very least, I'll wait for 57 cents and then maybe 47 cents, 48 cents. But yeah, there's a lot of resistance near 67 if you're holding it. But yeah, at the very least, I'm not buying any right now. Like, I'm not touching MMT just because of the crazy price action. So I'd probably advise everyone against it. But if you're going to buy it regardless, 57 and 48 is a good level to buy. Crypto Casting says the Fed needs to print money because of the debt crisis. That could be the moment where the cash doesn't hold any value because of inflation. And then assets will pump like it was in QE 2021. Good thesis, Crypto Casting. When do you think that's going to happen? I mean, obviously, I'm assuming quantitative easing would be when that starts. But when do you think quantitative easing would start, Crypto Casting? Opinion on Virtual. Mata asks. Let's ask. Virtuals was a great performer recently. And then it had a pullback. So there's a lot of lines on here. Let me go to the daily charts. Okay. So actually, this is what I was circling before. I think I was circling indicators were overbought, and I was saying be careful. And then, boom, we dropped a little bit. But nonetheless, let's go ahead. Let's just see where the EMAs are at, actually. So 50 EMA crossed above it. It's acting as support right now at 120. 120 is a great level to buy virtuals. Now you have the 200 EMA potentially acting as support. Let's see what happens with that. Stock RSI is almost oversold. So yeah, virtuals could be a good buy area soon. Now you can see here, like I said, 136, and then even down here at 117-ish. I think this isn't a bad level, just below the 50 EMA, around 117. So yeah, once the stock RSI gets oversold, I would get interested in buying some virtuals. But I just hate the RSIs like this, curving to the downside. Could still provide more bearish momentum. At the very minimum, I'd be buying at 117, no higher than that. And then below that, I'd be looking at 93 cents would be my next area of interest for virtual. I know that's a far area away, so just do spot if you're going to do it. Average 93, 117 is going to be about what, 105, 106. So yeah. Take with that what you will. Thank you, Sala, for the Hyperdash thing. Malik says, do you recommend any long-term quantum stocks or coins? You know, I know that Smart Money Crypto, I guess if you guys aren't in the paid Gym Hunters group, some of our Gym Hunters announced some quantum stocks that were very good and they went up 5 to 10x. But with that said, any quantum stocks myself I'm looking at, to be honest, I got to do more research. There's some good ones, but I got to do more research on them. And so I don't even know the names off the top of my head, to be honest with you. So yeah, I got to do more research on that, but I will let you guys know. Stay tuned. Remember, I do have a live stream tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Let's see. Tech says, amen, absolutely. Shogun says, really like how you're so close to God. God is everything. Absolutely, guys. Without God, you have nothing. Again, I'm not advocating for any certain religion, but everyone should have God in their life, a higher power, no matter who you are, right? I respect all religions, but just always stay close to God. Philip, historical, the death cross is marking a low in the market over the last few years. Seems like one of the last chances for BTC to pump. Yeah, exactly. That's where I talked about that fractal, is you do have a big fractal right here, right? That could be it. That could be it. We could be onto something right there. So, I mean, it's not too bad, honestly. Like there's what? We have a little, even if I actually take this fractal all the way, right? If we want to really take this out, you could see right here. How crazy is that, right? I mean, that's not a bad fractal if we're trying to compare that with this. Okay. So not a bad fractal there, and I can actually, boom. Not too bad. Not too bad right there. I'll take that. Where's that? 150K by March of next year? I'll take that. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Tell me what you guys think of that fractal. What's the best to trade right now, Solana or Link? I like Solana better. Now, if you're talking about certain charts, let's see. Well, I mean, Link doesn't look horrible. I mean, oversold stock RSI. Yeah. I wouldn't be a buyer for Link until 1420, but guys, Link has just been bleeding as well. Like, it's more attention's on Solana, so I'd say Solana. No problem, Malik. Hard facts. What about the 100 EMA? 100 EMA is not bad either, but most people look at the 50 or 200. Do you recommend Uniswap or Jupiter? Jupiter is probably going to have less fees, Don. Eric says, do you think Filecoin chart will follow ICP? Let's check it. And I know the stream's actually going on a lot longer than I expected, but you guys have some good questions, so I'm staying with you. Look at this thing here, guys. You see what I'm talking about here? These long-term trendline resistance points being broken. These 50 EMAs being broken, 200 EMAs being broken. I mean, look. I mean, this 200 EMA was acting as support up here, and now it's acting as resistance. Literally, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Like, some market maker decided to pump this to the moon. So you have overbought levels right here. You have stock RSI getting overbought. Yeah, I would, at the very, I mean, could Filecoin follow ICP? Yes, it could. At the very least, though, I'd be looking to buy it near 245. 245 would be my area where I'd may get interested, and then DCA down to 215. But yeah, that'd be the area I'd interested. 245, 215. Okay, guys, gonna quick fire questions before we end the streams. I do need to go. So what do you think AVAX long term? 50-50 on AVAX, honestly. Virtual Bacon talks about Stealth QE, which starts right after QT ends. It happened in September 2019. Akshay, thank you for that, actually. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick for September 2019. Let's see what happened with price on that day. So September, actually, let's just look at the weekly chart. Make it easier for everyone. Okay, so September 29th. Oh, man. I got to go to a different chart. Let's just do BLX. Okay. And I do actually have a huge line that I drew on this. Very curious to see this play out. But anyway, let's go. September 2019 is going to be right here. Okay. So Stealth QE started September 2019, but at the same time, look what happened with price. Price went down. Price range. I mean, price went down 60% over the next, what was that, March 20th, September, October, November, December, September, October, November, December, January, March. Yeah. So 5 to 6 months. That would be horrible. 60% down. Guys, if Bitcoin went down 60%, what would that mean for Bitcoin's price? Let's just entertain this for a second. I mean, and this, well, this BLX isn't the best here, but let's see. Notice of service termination. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Let's change this chart real quick. Let's do a Coinbase one. September. So, I mean, it's going to be a similar, but nonetheless, 64% plus or minus. So if we have 64% down over 6 months, I mean, I wouldn't want to see where that's at, but let's just say we start in November. Let's say Bitcoin is 108K plus or minus. They start QT ending 6 months later, May. I mean, if we go 60% down, So yeah. So if we take a fractal of that, again, guys, this is all speculation here. If we take a fractal of that, go, is it bars pattern, take a fractal. Okay, bring it up here. Okay, so, I mean, obviously this would be a lot lower than this. But basically what this would mean is, you know, we have a little bump up and then basically drop down. And that would be, I mean, that'd be crazy if we had that. That would mean Bitcoin goes down to $40,000 by May, if that repeats. So hopefully that doesn't repeat, but that'd be crazy if so. Again, guys, the big thing's gonna be the weekly 50 EMA to watch. So CryptoCasting, I don't trade liquidity concept, volume profile, and fib retracements. Now I do look at liquidity heat maps. I do focus on that, but I don't specifically trade the liquidity concept thesis there. But those are all good, very, very good indicators to use. How accurate is the DXY inversely correlated to BTC? It's about 75%, 80% maybe. It's not always there, but usually about 80%. Chud Jack, if BTC in 1 week time frame closes down in the swing it was making for 16 weeks, where would we go? My guess is 80K. So at the very minimum, we'd go down to 92K, I would say, because that's where the CME gap is at. So 90 to 92K, I'd be placing bids. Mad Facking, Christian. I am Christian, but, you know, I love Muslims as well. I love Hindus, Buddhists, everyone, guys. And so, like I said, just having a religion, having a higher power that you believe in, a God, is very important for everyone, regardless. I do not recommend atheism to anyone. Have a religion. Nerubia says, when do you think government shutdown ends? So statistics are saying November 17th. CryptoCasting, the drop reminds me when we fell to 98K, also in the Iran war. It was out of nowhere, but recovered by positive news. Yeah, could very well happen. Could very well happen. BTC's been going up consolidation, then going up again since it's dropped in March and April in weekly time frame. There you go. If we talk Palantir, what are your thoughts on it after the news with Michael Burry? He saw the crash 2008 and talks about AI bubble, but this can be different. Shogun says Christianity is the truth. Super Gringo, thanks, dude. Hey, no problem, Super Gringo. Anytime. Let's go look at Palantir, and then we'll end the stream, guys. Let's see. Man, crazy chart, guys. I mean, literally from $31 in August 2024 to $190. Now, if we go to some charts, I'm gonna draw some quick lines here. Okay. So yeah, major support for Palantir, 150. Nice psychological level as well. After that, 125. So it's breaking below the 50 EMA on the weekly or on the daily. So yeah, I could at least see 150 here. Looking at the RSI, stock RSI is getting close to oversold. So if it gets to 150, it's going to be a great buy level, guys. Getting close to oversold here. So yeah, very, very good buy level for Palantir near 150. But as far as your question, Tobias, I need to look at the Michael Burry news. And with the whole AI bubble, yes, we could have an AI bubble, but I still think there's so much more to be developed with AI. And so maybe in 2 years, an AI bubble. I don't think it's right now. Yes, there's a lot of AI development going on, but I mean, we still have so much progress to be made. I think it's still have some room to go. CryptoCasting says the stream was entertaining. I like that you're so data-based and rational. I appreciate you, CryptoCasting. I'm not, and that's the thing is I'm not just a blind bull. I'm not a blind bear. Like, I look at both sides. If something's bearish, I'm going to say it's bearish. If it's bullish, I'm going to say it's bullish. I don't try to sugarcoat anything. You're not going to get anywhere in life by doing that. It's just going to make it harder for you. So you got to be a realist at the end of the day. I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. And so you got to be able to look at both sides, guys. And that's how you stay successful in trading and how you maintain that profitability and last when 95% of traders blow up their account. So with that said, guys, if you have not liked the video, please like it. We got 51 viewers, 52 likes now. So awesome. Very good. Appreciate that. If you guys haven't followed me on X at the CryptoData, always appreciate it, guys. I'll link it in the comments as well. Remember, tomorrow at the same time, 1 p.m. CST, I'll have a stream of how to identify a bear market. So we'll talk about ways to identify it. We'll talk about things that I'm looking at to identify if and when we enter the bear market. And then after that, how we can trade accordingly and what to focus on after that. So Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Talk soon.